Hello friends, my name is Ryan, and I'm going to tell you a story named The Soham Murders, The Tragic Deaths of Two Schoolgirls, which is a very amazing story full of twists. So, let's start. This story is one that will leave you on the edge of your seat, my friends. It's not just a tale of loss, but one that questions everything we think we know about trust, evil, and fate. Two innocent schoolgirls, Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, both just 10 years old, disappeared on a warm August afternoon in 2002. Their families had no idea that day would be the beginning of a nightmare they would never wake from. It all started when Holly and Jessica left their homes to go to a nearby shop. They were last seen on a quiet street in Soham, a peaceful town that seemed to have no place for tragedy. It was a walk they had made countless times, just a few steps down the road to buy sweets, a normal thing for any child. But that day, something felt off. The air was thick, as if the world was holding its breath, and when the girls didn't return, that tension turned to dread. The search began immediately. The police combed the town, knocking on doors, speaking to everyone in sight. For days, it felt like everyone was on edge, but there were no answers. The community held on to hope, convinced that the girls would be found, that this was just a mistake, a misunderstanding. But the days turned into weeks, and the hope turned to fear. Then came the devastating discovery. The bodies of Holly and Jessica were found near a secluded area, not far from where they had last been seen. Their deaths were brutal, and the police quickly realized that they were not the victims of some random accident. This was murder. But who would do such a thing? As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that the killer was someone they all knew. A man named Ian Huntley, the local caretaker. He was trusted by many, a man who seemed harmless, who everyone thought was just another part of their community. But behind his eyes, something dark was growing. The more the investigation dug into his life, the more horrifying details came to light. Ian had been a man of many faces. To some, he was a friend, to others, a reliable worker. But behind closed doors, he had a history. He was a predator, someone who had manipulated and deceived everyone around him. He had convinced people he was a harmless figure, but the truth was far more chilling. His dark side was exposed, and it was not just a monster hidden in plain sight, it was a predator with a plan. Holly and Jessica's lives were taken by a man who preyed on their innocence. His carefully constructed facade began to crumble, and as the police dug deeper into his past, they found that his actions were premeditated, and his cruelty knew no bounds. He thought he could escape justice, but he underestimated the power of truth, and the world would soon know the extent of his horrors. What makes this story even more tragic is the family's pain, the grief that no parent should ever experience. Holly and Jessica were just children, full of life, with dreams and hopes. Their laughter, their innocent joy, was stolen by a man who should never have been trusted. The case became a reminder of how evil can sometimes lurk where you least expect it, and how even the safest places can hide darkness. The trial of Ian Huntley was a spectacle that captured the attention of the nation. As the details of the crime were laid bare, the world was shocked. How could someone who seemed so normal be capable of such monstrous acts? The evidence was undeniable, and in the end, Ian Huntley was convicted of their murders. But even after his conviction, the story didn't end there. The case sparked debates, raised questions about the justice system, and ignited a national conversation about safety, trust, and the ability of evil to hide in plain sight. The Soham murders were a tragedy that shook a nation to its core, and their memory will never fade. We must never forget that behind every tragedy, there are victims, real people, with real lives. So, my friends, as you listen to this story, remember that no one is truly safe. Evil can hide in the most unsuspecting places, and the people we trust the most can sometimes be the ones who betray us. Let this story be a warning, a reminder to always stay vigilant, and to never stop seeking the truth. And if this story made you think, if it gave you chills, if it left you wanting to know more, then I urge you to subscribe to our channel. There's always more to uncover, more mysteries to explore, and more stories to share. Let's try every day, where inspiration never stops, and the truth always finds a way to the surface. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and remember, the truth always comes to light.